Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists in minutes. In the sequel, Ghost Rider 2 begins with a man named Moreau. Moreau asks a priest, "Did you really find the child?" The priest replies, "Yes, we're hiding him in the castle." They enter, and Moreau asks, "Is this castle safe?" The priest assures him, "It's the safest place." Moreau then asks why he wants the child. The priest says, "It's not me who wants the child, it's the devil himself. To protect the child from the devil, we must take him to the temple." Suddenly, a gang attacks the castle to capture the child. A woman named Nadia tries to escape with the child. Moreau chases after her saying, "Wait, I can help you." But Nadia doesn't trust him and shoots at him before fleeing. While Moreau confronts the gang leader, Nadia escapes in a car. Moreau gets on his motorcycle to follow her. The gang shoots at Nadia and Moreau, causing Moreau's motorcycle to crash. But while in mid-air, he uses parts of the bike to flip over the gang's car, preventing them from reaching Nadia. Meanwhile, Johnny recounts how he became Ghost Rider. Johnny reveals that he has tried to control the Ghost Rider within him, but has always failed. The dark power inside him keeps growing. One day, Moreau visits Johnny. Johnny grabs him, asking, "Who are you?" Moreau replies, "I'm Moreau, and I know you're Johnny, the Ghost Rider." Johnny tells him to leave, but Moreau insists, saying, "You think you can control the Ghost Rider? Others have tried and failed." Johnny angrily wraps his chain around Moreau, demanding to know what he wants. Moreau explains that he needs Johnny's help. In return, he promises to restore Johnny's soul and rid him of the Ghost Rider. Hearing this, Johnny lets him go. Moreau leaves Johnny with a picture of the child he was trying to save earlier and asks him to rescue the boy. He explains that the devil, who once cursed Johnny, is after the child. If Johnny can save the boy, he can be freed from the curse. Johnny asks how he can find the child. Moreau tells him that when the Ghost Rider emerges, he'll be able to locate him. Meanwhile, Nadia is sitting in a diner, keeping an eye on a suspicious man at a nearby table. The man tries to flirt with her, but she dismisses him. The child, Danny, appears and asks Nadia, "Where's Dad?" The man decides to leave, but Danny manages to pickpocket his wallet. Nadia and Danny quickly flee as the gang chases after them. Johnny holds Danny's picture, preparing for the battle ahead. For the first time in my life, he wanted the Ghost Rider to appear, but it didn't want him to show up. At the same time, Ray and his men were attacking Nadia. Finally, the Ghost Rider appeared, got on his motorcycle, and knew his path. Nadia got out of her car, wanting to shoot at them, but she got hit and Ray's men caught her. It turns out Nadia knew Ray and told him, "Your gang is chasing me, and they want to kidnap my son." He replied, "We are the ones chasing you." Ray pulled out his gun and was about to kill her, but they heard the sound of a motorcycle approaching from afar. The terrifying beast, the violent ghost, arrived, and everyone was stunned by this skilled rider. Ray ordered them to shoot at him, and they did, but Ghost Rider wrapped his chain around them and roasted them with his flames. He approached one, looked into his eyes, and killed him with his penance stare. Ray pulled out a shotgun from the trunk and shot at Ghost Rider. The first shot affected him, but the second one knocked him down. They kidnapped Danny and ran away. Johnny woke up in the hospital, where the nurse told him his wounds looked very strange and that the police wanted to talk to him. Johnny yelled at her, saying he didn't want to talk to anyone and to leave him alone. He went into the medicine cabinet, got dressed, and was about to leave when he saw Nadia and remembered her. She recognized him as the Ghost Rider, turned away, and left. Later, Ray called someone named Rourke and told him, "I brought you the child you asked for, but a flaming-headed guy appeared yesterday, and we didn't agree on that. I demand more money for me and my men." Rourke replied, "You'll get what we agreed upon." Ray said, "That's not fair. You should have told me about this flaming-headed guy." Upon hearing this, Rourke froze and told Ray to hand the phone to Danny because he had something important to tell him. He whispered in Danny's ear like a devil, and Danny screamed and jumped in his place. Ray asked Rourke what happened. Rourke replied, "I installed a firewall program in Danny. It will protect him from the flaming-headed guy and prevent him from sensing or finding him." Thus, Rourke escaped with his devilish self from the previous part. but transferred his soul back into his body. Johnny followed Nadia, who was trying to steal a car to escape. She sensed Johnny following her, turned around, and pointed a gun at him, asking, "Who are you, and who sent you after me?" She added, "I saw bullets didn't affect you." He told her, "Your son will be among the missing if we don't save him. So lower that thing, and let's go rescue your son. The problem is, I used to sense him before, but now I can't." They started moving, and got to know each other better. Nadia told him that Ray, who kidnapped her son, was someone she knew and a weapons dealer. She asked him if he had ever met someone who offered him something in exchange for his soul. Johnny said, "Yes, but he tricked me and took my father's soul." Nadia replied, "The same happened to me. I was offered a similar deal when I fell from the 3rd floor and was about to die. A devil came to me, offering to save me and let me live in exchange for my son's soul." Johnny said, "I understand now, and that's why someone came to me, telling me I had to save this child." Nadia recalled and said, "Yes, he tried to help me, but I didn't trust him." Later, Nadia changed her route and went to someone who knew Ray to help them. Meanwhile, Danny woke up in the car with Ray, suddenly grabbed the steering wheel, causing the car to lose control. He put his seatbelt on, the car flipped, and he managed to get out while Ray chased him and caught him. Johnny told Nadia to stay out of the way when he appeared because he destroys everything and doesn't care about anyone. Nadia replied, "I'm not afraid of him." They went to someone named Faisal, who worked with Ray in weapons. They told him to call Ray or tell them his location. Johnny wanted to transform into Ghost Rider but couldn't. He told Faisal, "Tell us where he is or I'll unleash the monster inside me." Faisal got scared and revealed Ray's location. Faisal's men appeared, and Johnny and Nadia ran away. Johnny's hand ignited, and he fought anyone in his way. His motorcycle caught fire, and he rode it to transform into Ghost Rider. But his eyes and face kept turning black, and then back to normal. Ray brought a shipment of weapons and explosives to fight Ghost Rider. Nadia went to the location Faisal gave them, sneaked in, and freed her son. Someone saw her and was about to shoot her, but they all heard the sound of Ghost Rider's motorcycle. Nadia managed to kill the guy, grabbed her son, and ran. Ray saw Ghost Rider approaching and fired a rocket at him, causing an explosion. They thought they had killed him, but Ghost Rider was unharmed. He chased them, used his chain, and killed Ray's men one by one. Even when grenades were thrown at him, they didn't affect him. Someone emptied a magazine at him, but Ghost Rider absorbed the bullets, ignited them, and sent them back. He jumped at Ray, who fired another rocket, sending Ghost Rider flying. Ghost Rider fell to the ground, extinguished, and everyone fired at him, thinking they had finished him off. Ghost Rider climbed onto a giant crane, turning it into one of his weapons. In seconds, he eliminated all of Ray's men. Ray saw Nadia and Danny from afar, and was about to shoot them, but Ghost Rider pulled him with his chain. He threw him aside and went after Nadia and Danny. Nadia looked beside her, initially afraid of him. Ghost Rider grabbed her, looked into her eyes with his pennant stare. Danny got out of the car and confidently told him, "Leave her alone." Ghost Rider released her and approached Danny, but as he got closer, he completely reverted to Johnny. The next day, they were at a restaurant. Danny looked at his father playing with his son. Johnny, seeing this, sat with him and tried to play with him too. Johnny noticed something strange, saying, "It's odd that your leg, which was injured, is now completely healed." And he says to him, "I feel embarrassed being with you." So Danny replied, "On the contrary, you are one of the best people I've met in my life." Johnny grabbed a glass of water and started drinking. Then Nadia arrives, and Johnny says to her, "Moro told me that danger is coming our way in a few days, and we need to hide Danny in a safe place. I contacted Moro, and he will tell us where to hide Danny." Meanwhile, Ray finds himself under the rubble after what happened yesterday, and Rourke comes to him, saying, "You won't get rid of me until you bring me Nadia's son." Ray replies, "I'm dying right now." Rourke touches him and gives him power, pulling him under the rock. Ray emerges looking different and asks, "What did you do to me?" Rourke responds, "I gave you a second chance and granted you power." He hands him a piece of wood. which disintegrates when Ray touches it. Rourke explains, "This is the power of decay." Ray then tests his power on a paramedic, who completely disintegrates and evaporates upon his touch. Rourke tells him, "Now you have no excuse. You must bring me Nadia's son." We return to Danny and Johnny, where Danny mentions, "Yesterday, a motorcycle looked strange." Johnny explains, "That's because the Ghost Rider transforms anything he rides." Danny asks, "So, do you like yourself when you transform?" Johnny replies, "Not always, because sometimes I help people, but other times I do harmful things. Besides, this power comes from a dark place, which isn't my nature, so I hate it." Then Moro arrives. Ray continues touching everything, causing it to decay. Moro takes Johnny and the others to a place in the mountains with a religious group. Moro entrusts this group to protect Danny and Nadia, and takes Johnny to free him from the Ghost Rider's power. Johnny initially asks Moro, "I want to understand what exactly is inside me." Moro explains that it was once an angelic spirit of justice, but it was deceived and imprisoned in hell, its mission twisted from protecting people to punishing them. Moro adds, "The angelic spirit might still be alive within you, but removing it is very dangerous. If we take away the Ghost Rider's power, it could kill you." Johnny, undeterred, proceeds. Moro locks him in a room, and rituals are performed to extract the Ghost Rider. Johnny endures immense pain, recalling the contract he signed. Eventually, Johnny regains consciousness, alive, and searches for Moro to tell him he's survived, but finds no one. He discovers the religious group holding Danny and Nadia captive, intending to kill Danny before the prophecy day tomorrow. They believe Danny is the devil's son and want to eliminate him. They prepare to kill him at another location, but Ray appears, kills the religious men, and takes Danny away. Johnny and the others arrive to find the bodies of the religious men, confused about what happened. Johnny asks Moro, "What does Rourke want with Danny?" Moro explains, "Tomorrow is the prophecy day and Danny's birthday. He will turn 13, the age required to perform the ritual to transfer Rourke's soul into Danny's body. That has been Rourke's goal all along." Johnny is furious with Moro, asking, "Why didn't you tell me this from the beginning?" He laments losing the Ghost Rider's power, thinking he can't help, but he promises, "I may be weak now, but I vowed to protect Danny, and I won't abandon him." Meanwhile, Rourke prepares Danny for the ritual, revealing, "I am your father." Moro discovers Rourke's location and tells the group that without the Ghost Rider, their chances are slim. They gather weapons and head to Rourke. Rourke tells Danny, "The Ghost Rider's power that you admired, I removed it from Johnny because he was merely human and weak, but you are half human, and the other half can wield my power." They sedate Danny with an injection and prepare him for the ritual. Johnny and the others arrive and see crowds from around the world gathered. Moro explains, "These are the devil's soldiers, here to witness the ritual. If Rourke succeeds in transferring his soul, he will become more powerful than ever." Danny is placed on a platform, and Rourke stands behind him. The crowd cheers for Rourke. Nadia starts fighting the guards outside, while Johnny and Moro sneak inside, killing the guards they encounter. The ritual begins, and Rourke's soul starts transferring into Danny. Moro intervenes, disrupting the ritual. Johnny confronts Rourke, but Ray arrives, decaying Moro. Rourke attacks Johnny, throwing him aside. After Ray finishes off Moro, he approaches Johnny, but strangely, Johnny doesn't decay. Danny tells Rourke, "You said my power is half of yours," shocking Rourke. Johnny urges Danny to act, and Danny reignites the Ghost Rider's power within Johnny by engulfing him in flames. The Ghost Rider awakens, fighting everyone. Although the sun has risen, the Ghost Rider remains active. Rourke grabs Danny and escapes in a car. Johnny retrieves his old bike and chases them. Rourke panics when he sees Johnny in the car's mirror. His men shoot at Johnny, but it has no effect. Johnny jumps onto the car, transforming it. Nadia follows, but Ray jumps onto her car. The Ghost Rider, seeing this from a distance, uses his chain to pull Ray off. They fight, and the Ghost Rider defeats Ray with his penance stare, leaving him on the road. The Ghost Rider catches up to Rourke's car, flipping it over. Rourke emerges, and Johnny declares, "I am your worst nightmare," throwing him into the air and slamming him into the ground, and thus he returns him to his world. Nadia hugs her son. Johnny feels the angelic spirit of justice within him, freeing him from the evil spirit, and with that, the episode ends. Stay tuned for the next episode. Welcome to Recaply X, your movie recap in a flash. We bring the drama, the action, and the twists in minutes. Our movie today begins with Max and his mother as they move back into their old house in the city where Max was born. His mother used to move him to different places frequently to find a cure for his strange condition. This time they decided to return to their old town and start a small business there. While cleaning the house, Max finds many of his father's belongings. He sees a picture of himself as a young child, with his father standing in front of the TV, moving his hand, and notices something strange, a weird energy emanating from his hand that affects the TV, and he doesn't understand why. The next day, he goes to school on his bike and stops in front of the lab where his father used to work, which was destroyed by a very strong hurricane. His father died in that hurricane. Continuing on his way, Sophia accidentally hits him with her car. She quickly gets out to check on him and apologizes, promising to fix his bike. She tells him to wait and that she'll meet him in the same spot to take him home. Max arrives at school and is surprised to learn that Mr. Jack knew his father well. He notices afterward that his father's picture is displayed at the school, indicating that his father was a very important person. After school, Max goes home with Sophia, who fixes his bike. He thanks her, they get to know each other, and then he bids her farewell and leaves. When Max returns home, he finds everything he needs is already there. His father's friend, who used to work with him in the same lab, is now running the company they founded together, a company specializing in artificial intelligence called N-Tech. Max excuses himself and goes to wash his face. Looking in the water, he sees the image of an alien creature, which frightens him, and he quickly leaves. At the N-Tech lab, everyone is on edge because of a strange creature they were guarding there, which has started to wake up and move. Back to Max, his mother tells him that he was the one who convinced her to return to their old house because it was the best place for his condition. Miles, his father's friend, says that after his father's death, he took over the company and continued all the research his father was working on, which was aimed at combating alien creatures that wanted to destroy Earth. Back in the lab, the alien creature wakes up, releases massive energy, attacks everyone there, kills them, and escapes. The energy release causes a citywide blackout. After the power comes back, Miles leaves. Max then searches the internet and discovers that on the day his father died, a very strong hurricane hit the lab and destroyed it, causing his father's death. He also learns that Miles was the only one who survived that hurricane. While Max is working on his computer, it suddenly shuts down, which makes him very angry. He slams his hand on the desk with all his strength, and suddenly, a massive amount of energy is released from his hand. This shocks him, and he doesn't know how to react. He quickly hides his hand and stops the energy. The next day, Max tries to understand the power he has. He tests it on the electrical devices in his house, but the large amount of energy from his body causes the devices to explode and burn. Later at school, we see him sitting and drawing. Sophia approaches him and tells him she urgently needs to meet him. At the same time, nearby electrical devices malfunction due to the energy suddenly released from him. When he returns home, he continues searching online to understand his condition and the energy that comes out of him, for no reason. After a long search, he finds nothing useful. He goes to his mother and asks her about his father, saying he wants to know everything about him. Molly struggles to answer, which makes Max suspect that she is hiding something from him. He tells her that everyone in the city knows more about his father than he does. then leaves, upset. The next day, Max meets Sophia at a restaurant. Suddenly, while they're sitting and enjoying their time, Max feels a severe dizziness and excuses himself to go to the restroom. Suddenly, a massive amount of energy is released from his body, creating a bright light that he cannot control. The energy causes a power outage in the entire place. He quickly leaves, not knowing what to do. He leaves Sophia alone in the restaurant, gets on his bike, and rides away. He tries to find a place in the forest to release the energy, as it keeps building up and becoming unbearable. Suddenly, he stops in the middle of the forest and screams loudly, releasing an enormous amount of energy, then collapses. After a while, Max wakes up to find himself in his room. He doesn't know how he got home, and he discovers that the shirt he was wearing is burned, and his body is covered in burns. He stands there, stunned by what's happening to him. Suddenly, he notices an alien creature in the room with him. He quickly runs out, terrified. The creature speaks to him, introducing itself as Steel, an alien that feeds on the energy released from Max's body. This leaves Max confused, feeling like he's in a nightmare, but Steel assures him he's not lying, explaining that he absorbed the energy Max released in the forest, saving Max's life before he exploded. Steel also tells him that without the energy from Max, he cannot survive, and they must stay together at all times. Steel says he is there to protect Max from enemies who want to kill him. Max refuses Steel's presence and decides to get rid of him. He puts Steel in his bag and takes him to the forest to leave him there. While walking through the forest, Steel explains that the energy Max released woke him from his slumber. He tells Max that neither of them can survive without the other, as Max releases energy that, if not discharged, will cause him to explode. At the same time, Steel needs that energy to survive. Suddenly, a group of N-Tech soldiers appears and starts shooting at them to kill them. Max and Steel run and escape, and Max is still confused about what's happening, who these people are, and why they want to kill him. At this moment, Max begins to see memories of his father's life and hears about a group of evil alien creatures trying to destroy Earth. He learns that Steel is one of them, but Steel tells him that while he is indeed an alien, he is a peaceful one and was a friend of Max's father, helping him. To fight the aliens that want to destroy Earth, Max starts believing in the mission and trusts it. With no other place to hide, he chooses the school and takes Steel in his bag to keep him safe there, the only place where he feels secure. During this time, he meets Sophia and apologizes for leaving her alone at the restaurant. She accepts his apology and is happy. Later, Max and Steel go to a deserted place to discover Max's hidden powers. At that moment, a massive energy emerges from his body. Steel helps him learn how to control and utilize his powers. Max discovers he possesses extraordinary speed, incredible combat skills, and superhuman abilities. Steel merges with Max's body, transforming them into a powerful entity. From that moment, Max realizes they can't be separated and will remain together forever. Max then has a vision of his father in the past and learns that he and Steel were closely connected in everything. He also discovers that they must unite to defeat the evil aliens threatening to destroy Earth. Max sees the destructive storm that caused his father's death and learns from Steel that the storm wasn't a natural disaster, but was created by the aliens to kill his father. Determined to learn more about his father and what happened during the storm, Max decides to meet Miles, his father's old friend, to uncover the truth. Riding his bike, Max feels confident he'll find answers to his questions. Suddenly, Sophia appears in her car and offers him a ride to his destination. However, Max spots the soldiers who tried to kill him in the forest, so he leaves Sophia and quickly escapes. He tells Steel that they should split up and take different paths. Max tries to evade the soldiers, but eventually reunites with Sophia, who gives him a ride to meet Miles as quickly as possible. Shortly after, they arrive at the lab where Miles is. Max asks him what happened to his father during the storm. Miles explains that he wasn't with Max's father at the time, so he doesn't know exactly what occurred. He shows Max a device capable of generating immense energy and tells him it was his father's dream to save the world. Miles asks Max to help complete the project and fulfill his father's vision. At that moment, a massive energy surge comes from Max's body, causing him intense pain. He leaves the lab quickly, but a violent storm begins chasing him, attempting to destroy him. Max tries to escape and hides in a house, but the storm is too powerful and destroys the house. Suddenly, Max finds himself face to face with a terrifying alien creature. Before the creature can kill him, Steel arrives, and they merge into a superpowered fighter. Together, they defeat the alien creature. Max unleashes a massive energy blast from his body, destroying the alien. Afterward, Max sees a memory of his father in the lab with Steel, preparing to face the fierce aliens. Max's father activates the control device, but before he can launch his attack, the aliens invade the lab, destroying it and all the equipment inside. Max's father discovers that his friend Miles betrayed him and joined forces with the aliens. Miles's plan was to harness Max's father's superpowers to achieve great personal gain and become an unstoppable superhuman. However, Max's father refuses to let this happen and sacrifices himself, instructing Steel to find and protect Max at all costs. In that moment, Max's father detonates himself, thwarting Miles's plan. When Miles discovers that Max inherited his father's superpowers, he decides to exploit Max and take his powers. Max learns the truth and attacks Miles, but Miles is wearing a powerful suit, allowing him to fight back. Miles threatens to kill Max unless he sits in the control device so he can extract Max's powers. Left with no choice, Max complies. As he sits in the device, he sees Steel moving and agrees with him to make the ultimate sacrifice, just like his father, to save Earth from destruction. A massive surge of energy and power erupts from Max's body, which Steel absorbs as they merge again into a superpowered being. Max transforms into the ultimate Max and destroys the control device. A fierce battle ensues between Max and Miles. Miles manages to drain Max's powers, weakening him further. Steel advises Max to use his invisibility ability to attack Miles. Max successfully disappears and launches a ferocious attack on Miles. However, Miles cunningly detects Max's location and counterattacks, continuing to drain Max's powers. At that moment, soldiers arrive and attack Miles, trying to stop him, but Miles uses the stolen superpowers to fight back, easily defeating the soldiers one by one. Max gathers all his remaining strength to launch a rapid and powerful assault on Miles, giving him no chance to defend himself. But Miles regains control, overpowers Max, and continues draining his powers. In a desperate move, Max decides to end his life and sacrifice himself, unleashing all the energy and power left in his body. Once, he directs it toward Miles, and a massive explosion occurs in the place. Due to this explosion, Miles dies, and Max faints. When he wakes up, he finds himself and Estelle unharmed by the explosion. After a short time, his mother arrives, checks on him, and is very happy to see Estelle. The next day, his mother tells him the real reason why they kept moving and living in different places: to protect him and to find a doctor who could treat him and reduce the amount of energy emanating from his body. She also tells him that his father was an alien from a distant planet and gives him his father's necklace. When he places this necklace on the planetary map his father had created, he discovers the planet where his father was born. After that, Max goes to Sophia, having drawn her picture on paper, and gives it to her as a gift. She is very touched by it, and he promises her that he will always be by her side and never leave her. Then Max and Estelle unite and fly together in the sky. Their mission becomes to protect Earth and humanity from the evil alien creatures that want to destroy the planet and annihilate mankind. And here we reach the end of our movie. If you like the film, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with new movies. Thank you for watching,